Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. I am delighted to be accompanied by the wonderful Lenore Douglas, who made the fantastic film Weep Not. Hello, Lenore.
Hi, Danny. How are you?
Good, thank you. So good that you joined with us today. Thank you and congratulations on your film. But for those that haven't seen it, let's take a look at a clip of Weep Not.
When I was 10, I had my first sleepover with Candace and my first experience with suicide.
Let it go or it will eat you dead.
When I was 10, I was determined and alive. When I was 10, when I was 10, when I was 10.
Lenore, thank you for bringing your film to us at New Filmmakers Los Angeles. I was, even just before our interview, I told you I was mesmerized by the story you gave us and empowered by it too. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
So the film is about a woman who has had a trauma early in her childhood trauma, and she is trying to find her way out of it to no longer be a prisoner of that trauma. Like, how does she break free? How does she find freedom so that she can move forward? And what is the best way for her to do that?
I mean, I have, you know, as we've seen, sadly, we've seen and we know stories in our real lives and everything else. I've never seen a film articulated the way that you gave it to us. And it was so unique. And I was moved in a way that I've never been moved before in a film. And certainly speaking to some of our audience, they felt the same too. Obviously, you know, we've all been surrounded by different things in our lives, but where did the story articulate for you to turn this story into a film?
So the story articulated it was from a one-woman show that the co-writer of the film performed. And it was a story about an abuse that was very familiar to her. And it was with an older person was the perpetrator. And then I was doing research and I had found out that of all the people who suffer from childhood sexual abuse, 40% of those, the abuse actually happened between someone close in age to them. But the trauma is just as deep and just as hurtful as if it were an older person. And so I really wanted to tell this story, one, because it was shocking to me, and two, because I just thought people need to be aware of this, because you don't think of, you know, the babysitter's son that comes over, or you let your child sleep at someone's house and they haven't, you know, that friend has an older sibling. So I think when you can bring awareness to something, once you bring awareness, then a parent knows how to navigate and do their best. And look, you can never completely avoid it, but if you have the tools and the knowledge, you at least have a fighting chance to avoid putting your child in a situation where they could be harmed.
Yeah, absolutely. You had some very powerful performances, you know, in your film. Certainly, our lead actress who just carried the film, I was mesmerized by her. She has just so much about her and her aura. I could just feel her energy in what her character was going through. You had to get the right people to make this film and take on these character roles. How was the casting process for you?
So, well, the woman, Sheree O'Neal, so she did the one-woman show. So she was in it. It was a story that was close to her. And then for the man, we held auditions. I had auditions at my house, some with actors that I knew, actors that she knew, and actors that had heard about the audition. And then for the young girl who played Young Journey, Sheree saw her at an audition, and she saw her and she's like, that girl looks like me, and she has my energy and my spirit when I was a child. And she went up to the mother and she said, look, we're casting this this short film, and we'd love for your daughter to come in and read for it. And the woman's like, okay, but I just want you to know, I want to be very open. You know, my daughter is a boy who identifies as a girl.
Oh, wow.
Well, you know what? She looks like me. She has the energy of me. You know, she's perfect for the role.
Oh, that's so special. I love that. I love that. That's so special.
And then
Oh,
the great
goodness.
legendary Beverly Todd she came to see the one woman show. And
Oh,
so
wow.
we made a phone call to her and she's like, I would love to do it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, you know, Sheree's, I mean, you know, I was, again, as I said, it was a wonderful performance. How is that for you as a director, Lenore, when you've got like someone, you know, obviously that you discovered and has got a story to tell and you're directing it? How do you kind of work together on something that's kind of like being led by obviously your lead actress, and then obviously you're involved in it in a way that is directing it? How is that process for you?
Well, one, the most important thing is they have to trust me.
Yeah.
And then I have to trust myself. They have to trust me. And we did rehearsals and I took suggestions from them. But at the end of the day, in that scene, it's the both of them. I need the both of them to be really listening, really involved. And I'd whisper things in their ears to give them notes, because it's, so much of it is subtext that you're not speaking, but that subtext is coming out in your eyes, coming out in your movements, because I wanted her performance to be, it's very still, it's very quiet, because if you do too much, she just might not be able to go through what she needs to do in order for her to find freedom for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then for him to, he's walking a very fine line, because, he doesn't understand it the way she understands it to be, because he sees it differently. But he is also a survivor and victim of abuse, which is why as a child, he didn't understand sexual boundaries, which is why it was able to happen. So he's dealing with what he's learning about her feelings, but it's also bringing up in him everything he went through as a child.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because, I used to work with children that had experienced things, some very horrific things. And those sexual boundaries, unfortunately, when you're a child, you soak up things like a sponge, and children don't know those boundaries if they've been through things that they shouldn't have been through. And I love that you kind of incorporated that into the story, because that's also something that is sadly in existence today and has been for too long and many, many years. And I love that you incorporated that part of the story too. It was so, that kind of nostalgic when she's going back to her younger self, and they're both younger characters are playing through. Like, it was really like it was going back in time, but had a very kind of eerie kind of feeling, because you realize just the innocence of young, and it's so sad that a childhood could be taken away. And I thought you articulated that very, very well as well.
Yeah, because I didn't want to give it away in the beginning.
No.
When she's younger, because when you're younger, you're just confused, you're not quite sure what's going on, and it's another child, and but there's something nagging in you where it's wrong. So I wanted to get all of those complexities in there, and then be able to tell that story, in a way where I would feel comfortable directing children.
Yeah.
So, metaphorically, we used a lollipop.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally got that. And it was nice how you led us on a journey, because here I was just thinking it was two lovely little kids just playing in the fields together. That's what you took, and then they take us on that journey. And the one thing that I honestly found it extremely powerful to watch, and I love that when there was the scene at the towards the end when they are coming together, the fact you just mentioned stillness, and it was the stillness that was, it felt my heart was racing at the stillness, because I just wanted, you know, a resolution and for her to just feel, you know, like she was releasing, and you gave us this amazing scene. It was powerful. How, I mean, you must have been pleased with how that articulated, because it was really powerful to watch.
Yeah, no, I was, you know, when you're shooting it, you have it in your mind what you want it to look like. And then it's, you know, it's the work of a great editor. It's
Yeah.
of, you know, a great sound editor, a great composer.
Hmm.
So, you know, it just, you know, the stars just aligned to really get those simple moments to pay off.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And I know I've gone overboard with the whole story and the themes and the actors, because I'm, you know, felt so in love. But let's talk a little bit about your, you know, production. You know, what were some of the kind of bigger challenges that you know, you may have faced in making it? Because, you know, I mean, there was, I'm sure you were in different places, different scenes, exteriors, interiors. How was that process for you?
You know, the one of the most challenging things for the scene with the young kids was, one, to make sure she didn't fall off of those logs when, because
Yeah.
she's not a stunt player.
Yeah.
You know, just really making sure. And you can see there's one where she falls, and she falls so gracefully. You know, she really fell, but
Wow.
it worked for the film, but she didn't get hurt. So, you know, that's on my mind shooting it. And then, you know, just, we had a great team. We had a great DP. We had a wonderful production designer.
Yes.
And it really just all came together.
Yeah. Yeah, even in the opening of the, you know, the scene with the production design, the scene you created, it was so light, and I love this friendship that you know, that you took us into. But it was very ironic to me that the, you know, like, obviously this person is passing on, but yet you kind of almost took us in this heavenly place, like this like brightness that was
Right.
striking me, which I obviously love that you created that. It was a great scene. And hard to go through. And, you know, it's hard to lose someone that's close to you also, that you share something with, and, you know, you really, you know, to lose, especially when you've got really deep things on your mind and in your brain, and that person's going to be gone, you know. It's that was really beautifully articulated too, and a great actress as well there.
Yeah, Beverly Todd was amazing, and she represented strength. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
strength, you know, a woman growing up through Jim Crow eras,
Mm-hmm.
before we had the civil rights.
Yeah.
That's what the grandmother represented. And it was her passing, which she almost passed that on to her granddaughter, that
Mm-hmm.
strength, which allowed the granddaughter journey to confront the abuser and
Yeah.
ultimately do what she does to find freedom.
Well, there was I mean, speaking of in connectivity with that, leading to back to the kind of confrontation at the end, you know, there was a very poignant line in there that stood out to me, and it was devastatingly sad because, you know, there was, you know, understanding, and for anyone out there that is watching the film, you know, just the fact that she didn't kind of want to do this to him, because she didn't want to bring down a black man and any further, and she, you know, and that for me was such an important line to bring in as well, and just kind of showed her as a character, and how much she'd kind of almost overcome to get through, and it was just so powerful. Was that, I mean, that was something obviously in the script that was there, but I just thought that was really a great line that was put in there as well.
Yeah, and it was, it was funny because that's a line that I struggled with, which is where I didn't know if it fit in there or not. But I really thought back to Bill Cosby
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
a lot of his accusers, and I had read that early on some of them didn't come forward because, you know, here was this black man doing, you know, seemingly incredibly well in society and being looked upon as this hero to so many people.
Right.
Do I want to bring this man down? Do I want to expose him
Yeah.
as a fraud? And what does that mean for the Black community?
Yeah.
So I thought it was you know, an interesting thing to not only be going through for a victim survivor to be going through the pain of what they've gone through. Added on top of that is they may be shunned in the community because why are you bringing down our hero?
Yeah, yeah, you know, oh my goodness, absolutely. I mean, you know, a mesmerizing interaction. And I don't know how you felt about this, Lenore, but I certainly feel in reflection to your film that, you know, your film is going to resonate, you know, universally for anyone that's been through, gone through, going through, having to come through and understand themselves, and maybe their abusers and people that have taken them through a journey in their life they don't want to remember. What did you kind of want your audience to take from the film?
I wanted my audience to take from the film, I wanted them to take, no matter how, at some point, even if you don't confront a person, but whoever's done you harm, be it physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, whatever it is that you're holding on to, if you can forgive them, again, you don't even have to see them, just in your mind forgive them, it allows you the freedom to move on.
Yeah.
Because, you know, hatred is a really heavy anchor, and anger is a really heavy anchor. And as much as it's warranted, and don't get me wrong, it's really hard to let go, but when you do let go, you're so much lighter.
Oh,
And that's really what I wanted to get across. And again, I'm not, look, I struggle with my own, like, letting go of issues, but it's something that we should at least attempt to do.
Yeah.
Let go of the anger, the hatred, forgive, not for them. Like,
yeah.
She didn't forgive for him. She forgave for herself.
That was honestly like, it was so wonderful to see her character just like, and like you just said, it felt like a weight off of her, not off like she was helping him. It was literally for her to move on in her world and be free and just, you know, just get on with her life the way that she deserves. And oh, it was just really, really great. And I've never seen a film that's tackled this subject in this way. And I'm so glad that it got made and that you created this together. And I'm really glad that, you know, I mean, you must be a lovely person to work with because, you know, you have such a trust in nature and people can, you know, trust you in the work. And it was really nice to see that articulated on screen. What's next for you, Lenore?
I'm right in the middle of writing 2 television shows.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
So, and then once I get that done, I want to do another short.
Yes.
Direct short.
Yeah. Fantastic. And
and before COVID, I was, you know, starting to get into directing episodic television.
Oh, excellent. So you kind of mix in genres? Are you kind of different? Is any genres, or you kind of like mixing around a little bit, or is there any things that would?
For writing, I mean, I just like, you know, whether it's a comedy, magical realism, horror, you know, they're all just human stories.
Yeah.
Humans having to get over obstacles to just achieve that thing that they want, be it love, validation, power. So right now, both my stories are more in the family drama stories. Yes, the short that I've told is sort of a family drama.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Another thing I want to say about the short is I also wanted to tell a story that a kid could watch.
Yeah. That's really nice, and I think you carefully articulated the story that it felt that, you know, anyone could watch it, you know. And I think it's also extremely important for, you know, kids to sort of see a perspective in there and helping them in their understanding as well. And I think that was also really good that actually, even if you are a child and you may have been through things that's quite close in age group to you of when you experienced it, that there is a way you can overcome and get through. And that was really special. I love I could speak to you for hours, Lenore, but I would love you to finalize and just from your experience in your career thus far, you know, and topics that are important to you, and subjects and genres. Is there anything you could share with any filmmakers out there, you know, that want to follow in your footsteps? Is there anything that you can share that you use in your career thus far? Any advice?
I would say that the best stories to tell are the stories that are closest to you. And it doesn't mean you can't tell a sci-fi story, but within that sci-fi story is a piece of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, something that you're trying to overcome, or something that you overcame, or characters that are in your life and you know, and it can be any genre. Just, you know, the closer it is to you, the more authentic it is. I think.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. Well, listen, thank you for bringing your film to us, and best wishes with the making of your next productions, and stay connected, and thank you for your talent and bring it to New Filmmakers LA. We appreciate you.
Of course, I had such a great time. You guys are amazing. I can't wait to meet you in person.